fun day Monday. Where I'm at, it's Sunday. It's Sunday night. This is hot off the press is what that really means. We're hot off the press, okay? So I'm going to start. We're talking today about living a crazy, brave life. What that means, how we do that. I'm going to start by sharing what I was scribing this morning. And you'll hear me use that word. I'm adopting it. I'm going to give credit to Sarah Jenks. I heard her say that, and it feels right to me because I'll journal sometimes, and I've mentioned it a few times on this podcast that I will ask a question of the universe, of God, of Goddess, and then I'll start writing, and it feels usually pretty divine. There are times I'm writing and it is fully flowing from my head and maybe also inspired. But these times when I'm saying scribe, it means that I'm asking the universe a question and getting something back. So I'm going to begin with that today. The question that I asked was, Goddess, what has been hidden that my listeners are ready to hear? And here's what she said. The truth has always been hidden in plain sight. It lives and breathes and has its full embodiment with the heart and mind. It is the Greek word nous. It is the space of imaginal living that connects the mind and body to the divine. We say plain sight because if you speak with anyone willing to be fully honest, they'll tell you of times they just knew. Shivers, goosebumps, prompting, pits in stomachs, a stirring, a compelling, a dream, a creative idea, a synchronicity that seemed a little too perfect, a little too crazy, or a little too creative to come from mere mortals. But to live with the nous as guide is an act of bravery, and so this way of being and embodiment has been hidden in plain sight until now. The brave are rising. Look around. They're everywhere, rubbing their eyes, stretching their arms, and opening themselves to see the world through new eyes, new heart, the nous. The brave are awakening to share their stories of what happened in their slumber and what stirs in them while they transform from unconscious rest to conscious living. The brave are becoming lighthouses, watch women and men, true lovers with a capital L, weavers of stories, connectors of dots, channels, guides, teachers of the sacred. The brave are listening in the quiet. They are performing the courageous act of being still and allowing what comes forth to take shape, to rise, and to alchemize. The brave are loving full throttle, heart open wide with a knowing, this is the not so secret elixir anymore. We may not be wearing the armor for a battlefield, but we wield weapons of light, truth, love, and our nous, our knowing. This has been hidden in plain sight until now. It's time. The brave are rising. Okay, so what is nous? Let me start with that. I read it in one of the books I'm reading, which I'm going to tag this week in. I should have done that last week, but I'll put that in the show notes. It's Mary Magdalene Revealed by Megan Waterman. And I had read the word in there, and then it came up when I was scribing, and so I went and did a little bit more digging. In the ancient world, the nous was seen as the finest point of the soul, or the angel of the soul. Jesus, in one of the scriptures, said, "For where the mind is, there the treasure is." If you've been in religion at all, you've probably heard that before, but it got translated over the years, that word nous, to mind. Where the mind is, nous, there the treasure is. But when you go all the way back to the Greek, the concept of mind in the Greek includes the heart, and it was never meant to be separated. This is, again, you can go back and listen to last week's minibang, but this is, again, where in small and really large ways, things were stripped from us. So we went straight to the logic, which is, it still can be divine, but it is that masculine piece. The body is a part of the divine feminine that we all have. So even in this one word, it was stripped of the full truth, which is that It's not just where our mind is. It's not just where our logic is that our treasure is. It is in this place that is a combination of the heart or mind. And in Near Eastern wisdom traditions, it's the origin of the spiritual perception. So Megan in her book talks about returning to love, returning to heart as an act of bravery. She said that is the act of bravery, is coming back to heart, back to intuition, back to imaginal living. That's the act of bravery. And that is sort of conscious living. And coincidentally or not, and where I want to pull all these pieces together on a personal level, is that over the last handful of days, I've had 3 different people tell me how courageous I am for the work that I'm doing on the podcast. And each time it kind of surprised me, to be honest, because I haven't felt like I haven't been, because my perception when somebody says that I've been courageous, beneath that means or infers that there may be something to fear. So I started thinking about that, like, is there something I should be fearing that I'm not? Am I naive, like, and in this blissful naivety right now? What is that about? So when we live this life of the nous, when we live this life that's connected to intuition, when we speak our mind, speak our truth, people will not always agree, and it does require a certain level of vulnerability as well. And I think not everybody's there, and that's okay. We're all on our own journey. But on a surface level, it's this idea of like, will they judge me? Will they exile me? Will they take advantage of my open, transparent heart? Will they think I'm crazy? Will they think I'm too much? And all of that, to be honest, I can look back in not so recent history and see that there were points of fear that I had to overcome. I talked about that, I think, in one of my early episodes about walking through fear and even putting this podcast out there. But now maybe I'm in a bubble, but now I don't feel that anymore because I don't know, my knowing is unshakable where I'm at right now. And maybe I'll hit a new level of growth where it will require more courage of me. All that being said, though, I think the bigger thing that I've been reflecting on in relation to this is this idea of this way of living being kind of crazy. And I've caught myself saying, this might sound crazy, but, or I know this is a little woo-woo, but prefacing and being dismissive to what could be the most normal way of living, except it's been stripped from us. So the truth is, we've been labeled crazy for centuries when we live this way, when we live according to our knowing, when we pay attention to dreams and synchronicities and signs, when we feel the sensual power in our being and know its divinity, when we vocalize the whispers that our bodies speak. The truth has been that all of the fears that one might perceive now already have been realized. The worst fears have happened. The feminine was forbidden. We were stripped of our power. We were burned at our stake for having an opinion, a thought, a feeling, an intuition. The fear has been in our DNA. And it's not just us. It's indigenous people. It's anybody that had anything different than the people that were in control and power, that were performing religious rituals and ceremonies, that were connected with Mother Earth, that lived in a different way that wasn't logical, right? And those fears were realized, and it is in, I believe, our DNA. What I also know to be true, and I hope that you guys feel this in your bones, is that just as fear has been woven into our DNA, fucking bravery, pardon my French, bravery is woven into every cell of our being. And the brave are waking up to that in our bodies, to women like Mary Magdalene and so many others that are in historical documents that are being uncovered, to all kinds of people that are standing up and living a wildly courageous, brave life that is juicy and full and not sterile. So my invitation to you all this week is to consider, are there any areas of, here's maybe a few questions for you to reflect on. Are there areas of life right now where you're experiencing fear and are shrinking back? What would it require of you to be brave and be courageous? What would you need to live a crazy, courageous life? Where are you shrinking, and how can you be big? How can you become bigger? Where in your life have you caught yourself saying, I know this might sound crazy, but... And could you replace that word crazy, which this is what I'm doing. I'm working on replacing the word crazy with wild or magic. I know this might sound like magic, and it is. I have had so many serendipitous synchronicity moments this last week. I was going to come on and just talk about that this week because of how magical it's been. I don't know that I've ever had a period of time in my life where there's so many little things that are crisscrossing that I'm like, no way. Yes way. What if this is normal? What if this is normal and not crazy? That's it. That's what you get this week. All right. Have a banging magical day.